will take you on a special journey. For some of you, being on a boat in the ocean is a new experience. It is natural to feel a bit nervous, but our crew is here to make you feel comfortable. If you're feeling safe or nauseous, please make use of the seasickness bag at the table or ask a crew member for it.
May ato picture lang. After 1931, almost 100 years, the island was again a place of banishment, but of a complete different kind. Those people in those days who suffered of the old ancient biblical sickness called leprosy. Robben Island was the isolation camp. Remember, in those days it was a worldwide phenomenon. If you have the sickness of leprosy, Norwegians, spit out. It was a worldwide phenomenon. If you have leprosy, they isolate you. 1,500 graves scattered amongst these bushes. Even that prison is built on top of a leper grave. Ladies and gentlemen, here, and if I talk about the lepers, I talk about white people, black people, Indians, the lost percentage. And remember, these lepers were treated worse than criminals. So for 100 years, Robben Island was an isolation camp for those who suffered of the sickness called leprosy. Ladies and gentlemen, any medical practitioner, doctor in the Brazil, my Norwegian friends. It was one Norwegian doctor. He won the Nobel Prize. 1931 he invented the cure to leprosy. His name. The great man, you don't know him. Alma Hansen. And the disease was also called after him the Hansen's disease. So when he invented the cure, all the lepers were sent off. The entire landscape of Robben Island changed. The prisoner was sent back again. So one man changed the history of Robben Island, and he was from Norway. And just for the sake of those who are not from South Africa, 300 years ago, it was smallpox that hit South Africa. Millions died. 300 years ago, smallpox. 200 years ago, leprosy. And in between the 300 and up till today, we suffer over the sickness called TB, tuberculosis. There's no cure yet. And we are still grumbling around the AIDS pandemic. There's no cure, especially in South Africa and Africa. And you all know, not too long ago, we overcome the COVID pandemic. Just to give you a feel that we had so many pandemics in South Africa. Okay? Right, about this. You say? Thank you very much, brother. Robben Sobukwe. Robben Sobukwe was not kept with all the other political prisoners. Robben Sobukwe was kept sole alone in this little house with the red rooftop on. The cages next to it, those were dog kennels. But the dog kennels were built after his time. It was only the single house on the entire plot of land. Where the boss is standing now was a huge watchtower to watch over him that he must not escape. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to settle down here roughly 5 minutes. Once you have the grip of this man's history, you will understand broader Robben Island history, South African politics at large. And for the sake of those who are not from South Africa, the very first question that comes to your mind, what was the fight all about? Why was it so necessary to get rid of the old government? 1,010 reasons. I'm going to touch only on one or two. For those who are not from South Africa. Listen, in those days, if you're a black person in this country, you had to carry a little booklet in your pocket 24 hours a day. And should the police catch you without that booklet outside your house, 3 to 6 months imprisonment, hardly. And written in that booklet out of many, many laws and rules, I'm going to touch only one or two. Your area of movement. A black person, male or female, in the country of birth, they were not allowed to move freely from city to city, town to town, unless government grants permission in that. Neither were they not allowed to work or to school wherever they wanted. And this is mommy of the baby. Mommy, imagine you're a mother. By accident, you have forgotten your booklet at home. The police arrest you in the middle of nowhere without the booklet, put you in a police van, and through the window of the police van, you see your little baby in the hands of a stranger. So I guarantee you shall die in that spot. On that particular day, this man Sobukwe instructed all the black people countrywide to march to all police stations without the booklet, to hand themselves over to the police to be arrested under the slogan, if the police arrest you, you don't ask for bail, you don't ask for defense for a lawyer attorney, you don't pay a fine either. Be prepared to sit in prison. They followed his call by the thousands countrywide. South Africa, unfortunately, on that day, the 21st of March 1960, in front of one police station in the town called South Africa's where you know. You're not going to embarrass me here today. Sharpeville. You say, thanks, where do you go from? Sharpeville, but South Africa. Sharpeville, thank you very much. You must polish up on your history. You see, these born fleas, we call them the born flea, but born after the struggle. You just reap the benefits. Don't care what happened in the past. Correct, brother, Sharpeville. After the police arrested the first 100 in front of that police station, when you looked through the window, there were thousands outside waiting to be arrested. Instead, the police came out with the machine guns. And within 5 minutes, they gunned down 69. The start of the revolution. Countrywide that day, there were killings. Countrywide that day, arrests were made by the thousands. The entire country was in chaos. The army had to be called in. The army was sent off Robben Island to make room for the prisoners to come, and that prison was built on that side. So Bukwe too was arrested. He was given a 3-year sentence, which he first served on the mainland. But when his 3 years were over in 1963, the situation was so explosive, they could not afford Sebukwe's freedom. Instead, they brought him to Robben, and they put him in that little house, so alone. He was not allowed to talk to anybody, not even to the 4 guards around his house. They say the 3rd year, when Sebukwe was eventually visited again, his vocal cords, stamina, were affected by talk. Now, ladies and gentlemen, why is 21st of March today in our calendar a public holiday? And the name of the day, 21st of March, South Africans. Thank you very much in front, Human Rights Day. Why is it called Human Rights Day? It was on that day too when the eyes of the world opened upon South Africa. It was India first, after the Sharpeville uprising, who took the South African case to the United Nations, exposed the atrocities to the rest of the world. The Germans stepped in. The Germans were the first country who started to boycott South African fruit. Sanctions were applied against the country. The Norwegians stepped in. Scandinavian countries. And the man who led the uprising on our behalf in your country, Norway, the son of your ex-Prime Minister, Harriet Garrett. Perhaps you know his name. Now, he was a great friend of our struggle. And he was the person that transported us to Norway and helped us. Millions of kronen went to my hands. Kronen is a currency. Went to great contribution. My friends, and then my friend from Australia, you give your great contribution. England. The other part of the fight against the old government, why is it that we so much want to get rid of the old government? In those days you could have been the best of athletes, the best of sportsmen. If you are not white, you cannot make the national team of the country. And after the Sebukwe uprising 1960, when these all-white rugby Springbok teams would go to Twickenham in England, Brisbane in Australia, remember? It was the Australians who invaded the pitches while the all-whites were playing, disrupt the games, the start of the Olympic boycotts. And my friend from South Africa, from Canada, the African nations threatened Montreal Olympics. You allow the all-white athletes into Montreal? We are not going to partake in the Olympics. Unfortunately, last minute the Canadian government refused the all-white athletes entry. And South Africa was kicked totally out of the international sports arena. A contribution we shall never fail to mention. And on that day when Canada said, no, we are not going to allow you. Imagine in the streets of South Africa, it was dancing and singing. Victory. The old African slogan, my friend from Canada, the old African slogan, is the last straw that breaks the camel's back. With a pleasure, world pleasure. Oh, but if I should have told me Botswana is a name. And if you want to run out of South Africa into Botswana, they that government will help you to the rest of the world. You know, you have our freedom fighters. Drop me a diamond or something.
No, ik present dan. Maar dit is best. Doe nou niet pandang. Doe nou niet pandang.
Many cases compared to
The church lah.
Oh, really? It is very cold now. You can't open.
Ladies and gentlemen, on your right hand side, you'll see it now, the Church of the Good Shepherd. An Anglican church. 1841 church built. But this church was only meant for the lepers only. Because of the fear they had for the sickness, the lepers and the rest of the people were separated from one another. Here was a leper village. When Dr. Hansen of Norway invented the cure, they were still scared of the sickness. They burned down all the clothing, furniture, buildings out of fear. It might be contagious, but they were confident. And you listen to the story of the lepers only. You shall never leave this church without tears in your eyes. The hardship, they were handcuffed. Remember, they didn't know what to do with them. So, very sad history. The leper church, Church of the Good Shepherd. And the second talk about it. Okay, sit down. Hoping I will never get to the Australian impact upon Robben Island. But he can close his ears. 300 years ago, South Africans, there were no trees on Robben Island. What prevailed on the island was a famous South African shrub, the fynbos. It doesn't grow bigger than this, and the fynbos crowded with thousands of different flower species, the best in the world. 300 years ago, the island was a carpet of beautiful flowers. But here the English came. The English would sail all the way from England past South Africa, Robben Island to Australia, pick up the eucalyptus trees in Australia, planted it, brought the trees here, planted it here. We all know that these eucalyptus trees from Australia has got two very, very bad habits. One is, wherever the seed drops, it grows. We have thousands of these trees today on the island. And the trees smothered out, killed the indigenous fynbos beautiful flowers. But you might ask me a very good question. Why don't you chop down these trees? And whoever comes this way from Australia, give them a branch or two to take back home. No, it's not easy, my friends, because with the trees came the birds. And because of these trees, my bird lovers, today on this island, we have 200 different bird species. You chop down these trees, you destroy the bird life. But to add to our misery, once again the English sail from England, past South Africa, Robben Island, to Australia, pick up thousands of rabbits, dump the rabbits on Robben Island. Once a year we have a rabbit plague on Robben Island. You just cannot get rid of it. We all know the rabbits breed like the Australians. And we cannot really get rid of the rabbits and chop down the trees of the birds because in our necks, the Greenpeace Association from Canada, you know, every second Canadian is a member of Greenpeace. You want to kill one rabbit, you have to fill in a thick document. God, come through, my friend from Canada. Right, okay, go away. It was only the president of Quarry, just behind the president of Quarry. It was in Quarry. It was shocked when we brought him over this side. Beautiful island.
Other church.
In Quarry, we get another church building, 1841 Garrison Church. Now, during the leper period, remember the lepers had their own church. This church was for those who look after the lepers. Anybody from the Catholic faith, perhaps, I say. My Catholic friends, if you go into this church, written against the wall inside, big and bold, the name May Harvey. Now, May Harvey was a very, very young English Catholic nun who came all the way 1846 from London to a remote island, Robben Island, to come and look after our lepers. What we call today the Mother Teresa of Robben Island. You got the feel? Unfortunately, at a very young age of 32, this young English nun sacrificed her life, dived into the water to save a drowning leper. But she and the leper got entangled by the sea. Both of them drowned. Ever since, we remember the great contribution of this young English nun who gave her life for the lepers of Robben Island. Endless we can talk about the nun in the church of England. rich history. My friend, when he two little boys, on top of this church was a flag pole.
Half-mast.
It was so traditional over the hundreds and hundreds of years in Mandela and there. Whenever a baby boy was born, the guards would hoist a blue flag. Baby girl, a pink flag. That was tradition. Remember, the guards came with their whole family to the island. But that's not what I... While the people were celebrating the birth of a child this side of the island, got them down. Remember, Mr. Mandela became a grandfather while he was in Robben. And just one quick one stop, then we're going to get off the bus. Okay, that was just a school of the island for the children of the gods. Thank you, thank you. My American friend, do me a favor. Close your ears.
Like I came to Johannesburg work the day before yesterday. In Cape Town for maybe 2 more days or 3 more days, and then go to Zimbabwe and Gambia and other countries.
Namibia.
No, not Namibia, but Zimbabwe, Gambia, Congo, Malawi.
You're going to Malawi and Congo.
Which part
What was it? Could you leave me?
Dependent, leave behind to follow me. And around this place, you can see there are some 2 fences. So there were some human bones who were discovered 18 months ago. A person who died.
That's what I could do. Give it the kid.
There are people who are here to sacrifice their physical for a greater cause.